And here we are, and you can see what I'm getting ready for. Tomorrow is Halloween. And I also want to tell you tomorrow we're going to have a Halloween party. And there's going to be a surprise.
Do we want our audience to dress up and send in pictures?
We would love to have you dress up and send in pictures and try to guess what we're going to do. Because I'm going to give you some hints. It's going to be anti-woke, big time. And it's going to be substantively anti-woke. We're going to offer, through the use of the costumes, we're going to show you how anti-American and how disgusting the position of the Democrats is, and raise the question that has to be asked by Republicans, if you're patriots, why are they doing this? What's wrong with them? It's much more serious than just politics as usual. This isn't politics as usual. This has become not just, they used to say this was a contact sport. This is now a homicidal sport. Okay, so the president had a great day. He and Xi Jinping carried it off perfect from what you could see. Does this end all problems with China? Of course not. Does it even begin to end all problems with China? No. Does it begin to set up a working relationship that gets away from the sick working relationship that he inherited and couldn't quite completely reverse the first time he was in office? But everything he's doing, and of course the press doesn't notice it, it has 3 or 4 parts to it. And one of the parts to it is a massive change in the way in which we engage in each other, so that we can contest with each other to the point of, whenever we get this decided without destroying the world. And I think he seems to have more success with this with Xi Jinping. Well, because Xi Jinping is the guy who, along with him, could destroy the world. Putin's has a lot of nuclear arms, but not really the support and the capability of going quite that far. Now, where's the sign? I'm going to put up the sign first because
I need a second too. I got to set them up.
We got to set them up. That last night when we had
sign it first.
When we had Michael Francisi on the phone, if you said I'm going to set him up, he would have shot you. You know what set up means do you know what set up means in mafia talk?
Well, you certainly do.
It's a whack. It's a whack, baby. It's a whack. Yeah, let's set him up. But I would hear that sometimes in the middle of the night.
Flashbacks.
Hey, Sal, Big Sal. Yeah, Ronnie, what? I heard they took the little bum, the little bum, Mr. Feathers. They took Mr. Feathers and they can whack him. Good question. Now, what do? You're the FBI, you're the U.S. Attorney's Office, you're the Department of Justice. You have information that's quite serious. You got 2 organized crime guys, probably both of whom killed 3, 4 people each. Now giving you information that there will be a murder in your district the next night. Now, if you warn people, you prejudice your wire. Forget it. No more wire. If you don't, you're complicit in murder. So we always followed the rule because I never wanted to be tempted. I set the rule up in advance to make it not amenable to a sad story. And it was, we're not going to kill people. Sorry. If we have to call off the whole wire, the whole investigation, we're not killing somebody. We're going to go warn them. Right. But how about we come up with inventive ways to warn them, to make it even more complicated? And that's what we would do. We would go and let them think somebody else was doing it, get that guy off the hook. Very often that'd be a basis on which we could turn the guy, particularly if you play him the tape. And that was a risk because that could jeopardize it. But we got through 3 years of it without doing that. So Congressman McGuire,
Yep, we're getting away.
Congressman McGuire has been is a veteran member of the United States Congress. I didn't get a chance to look at when he was elected before, but I was looking at all the things he's done. So obviously, he's been in Congress for many, many years. And also, the president talks about him all the time as one of the best people in Congress. Now, people around the president talk about him all the time as he's in the White House. I don't think they think you're a pain, John, but it's a good thing when you are a congressman.
No, it's an honor to serve.
The squeaky wheel, you know.
Well, I appreciate your endorsement. You were a big help in our campaign.
Yeah, this guy's exceptional. But before you tell me about it was a big help, I got to tell you, I'm so proud. You endorse people and you get good people, some not so good. You're like outstanding. And I really forget that you're a freshman. Because if you could you figure out, you're a very smart guy. I mean, you're scientific and everything else. Can you figure out a way to give injections to somebody? Give them some of that you got.
Energy.
Probably a lot of push-ups. What did Pete Hegseth say? Fit, not fat in the military.
Yeah.
We got to get everybody out there doing some push-ups.
So tell us what's going on. Who knows more about the shutdown than you? What's going on?
I tell you what, today we're on day 29 of the Schumer shutdown. It's crazy. They're playing politics over we the people. And, I think your audience would know that continuing resolution wasn't perfect. Chuck Schumer, he helped draft that continuing resolution and he voted for it 13 times during the Biden administration. So, if the Democrats voted for it 13 times during the Biden administration, there was stuff in that continuing resolution that Republicans didn't like. But to move the ball down,
we always had trouble getting a complete vote on that.
Yeah, it's really tough.
We'd always have people saying, "Oh, we're just kicking it down the road."
Right.
And in a way, it recognizes their bad spending.
Right.
You almost have to approve it after the fact.
Yeah. Well, the crazy thing about
then
it,
you try to stop it going forward.
Right. Well, the crazy thing about it is, we worked President Trump's leadership. It was very hard, but we passed it in the House of Representatives. Goes over to the U.S. Senate. You wouldn't think we'd have a problem because they drafted it and voted for it 13 times, and they voted no. And it's discretionary spending, and now they're trying to leverage them. So let's say you bought $1 million house and you signed the contract, and it was more money than you wanted to spend on the house, but you got the house, and all of a sudden someone comes up to you and says, "Hey, I need another $1 million." Well, the Democrats are asking for $1.5 trillion, and they're asking for a ton of money for illegal aliens, and they're getting rid of $50 billion that Trump put in the One Big Beautiful Bill to help our rural hospitals. So it's America Last, continuing with those America Last policies. And, tomorrow, if day 30, our military and our federal government employees will lose their second paycheck they will have missed. Saturday, the SNAP recipients, almost 42 million in the country, will not get their SNAP.
And SNAP is food money.
Right.
Now, last week the money was put in to pay a lot of the military. But that doesn't happen this time.
Well, it doesn't last. And, President Trump is creative, and he's trying to find a way to help these people. But I don't know if you know, the largest federal employee organization that endorsed Kamala Harris actually sent a letter to the Democrats saying, "Stop this game and reopen the government." The Republicans in the U.S. Senate have voted now 14 times to reopen the government. And the Democrats, who are playing politics over the people, we call it the Schumer pain game, they voted 14 times now to keep the government shut.
Yeah, and I mean, people should understand what they're trying to do is they're trying to leverage this, use this to pass what really would be a massive piece of legislation that would have a massive impact on our budget. They passed in two different or maybe three different bills, big extensions of Medicaid, first for the pandemic, then another one for the pandemic, and then one just because they're communists, the Anti-Inflation Act.
Well, that's
the biggest one.
Yeah.
But they were all made temporary. And I think some of our people actually believed it. It's temporary, it's just for 3 years, it's only while we go through the crisis. Well, the crisis has been over now for a year. Now they want to take the spending. They don't even want to extend it for a year or two. They want to extend it forever.
Yeah.
So the people who are rich don't have can get government insurance 500% above the poverty line.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I mean, these are people who then they don't care that a lot of the people who are getting Medicaid are working, but they don't take their employer insurance because this is so much better.
Yeah, why would you do it if you get it for free from the taxpayers?
Right.
People making $600,000 or more are getting these benefits. And here's the crazy thing: when the Democrats had the majority, they could only get a temporary coverage during the extension during the pandemic. Pandemic's over; it's supposed to go away. Now they're in the minority. They couldn't get it when they were in the majority. Now they're in the minority, and they're trying to get permanent benefits for people who don't need them. They couldn't get when they were in the majority. It's the weirdest thing in the world.
So now, the $64 question, I'll go back to the old arithmetic, that's 64,000, and they kept changing it.
Wants to be a millionaire.
Yeah, it began as the $64 question.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the $64 question. How does it get over? How does it end so that it always ends, and it ended after 35 days. That was the longest. This may go beyond that.
Yeah, I think that they're trying to break records. The association, I know it's
For keeping
crazy.
the government closed.
Oh, yeah. Have you seen what they've been messing up? They've been doing interviews. There's a highlight reel, and I'll try to get it to you, Ted.
Yeah.
Speaker Mike Johnson has a highlight reel where they talk about
He's
pain.
done a good job.
He's done a
And
great.
Thune did a good job. Boy,
He's fired up on the
he's a
floor.
big guy. He should throw
Yeah.
some punches.
Yeah. Yeah. I was with Speaker Mike Johnson about 4 hours ago before I got here, and he's doing a great job. He has a highlight reel. I'll try to get it for you, but he shows all the slip ups where they talk about the people have to suffer.
People
We have to use
suffer,
leverage.
yeah.
I mean, that's what they think about the American people.
But that's the leverage is people suffering, not them.
That's right. The Schumer pain game. They have to feel the pain. And so we have a big election in Virginia with Winsome Sears. And obviously Mangami. I don't know how you say his name in New York for the mayor.
Yeah, that's good enough.
That's terrible, isn't it? But all those things are going to happen Tuesday. And some people speculate that they want to keep the government shut, thinking that will help their Democrat candidates. But polling shows that the shutdown, the Republicans are looking better polling wise than the Democrats. But
Yeah.
and the American people are not falling for it. The Democrats will look at you with a straight face on TV every night and call it a Republican shutdown. But clearly, if the Republicans keep voting to reopen the government, it's a Democrat shutdown, and the American people aren't buying it.
Yeah, I think this is the first time where I feel comfortable that we have beat them on the strategy of public relations here. Some of the others were also egregious in terms of it was their shutdown, but in this case, I think the smart thing that Thune did, and the vice president encouraged him today to do more of it, made him vote 13 times, 14. No.
Yeah, 14.
So every day, have him come in and vote. At first, when he did it, people were wondering, well, why is he doing this? Why is he doing this? Because every day there's something put before him that they have approved 13 times. They were ready to approve this 2 months ago, right? And they won't approve it, even though we have to eat our principles a little bit with this thing. And we had a compromise on this thing because we had to recognize their ridiculous spending. But we weren't able to get some reductions in spending that were promised. I mean, you know this better than I do, but our MAGA core, right, in Congress wanted to see some reductions put in to make up so the extra spending doesn't happen again. And they had to be talked out of it.
That's right.
So that we
It
could
was
get
tough to do. You're right.
But to get a compromise.
That's right.
So those are very important things to us that they gave up.
That's right.
These guys won't give up anything. They won't give up anything. And it's all politics. And they don't even think this was a good idea. Back in January, they were all set to just. And I believe two things happened. And even the Schumer thing, I don't think is the bigger one. The bigger one is they're failing at everything. And this is like, I remember when I was running once, Roger Ailes was my campaign consultant. And every day they'd come up with a new thing about me. All of it lies, absolute lies. I had I had a daughter I never acknowledged in Albany. They found some girl who was named Giuliani who was born
Wow.
about a
Wow.
year before my wife and I separated. And they claimed that that's why we separated, because we fought over the daughter. Luckily, my wife and I were on good terms, and she put out a statement. I put out a statement, and the girl said they were an Italian family. The whole family is very excited because we hope we're related to them.
That's funny.
So, but I mean, they do the damnedest things. So, but how do you see a roadmap? Like, can we say to people by Thanksgiving, which is only a week from now, right? Is it a week from now? Yeah. No, it's about 3
the
weeks.
End of October.
Yeah, I'm thinking, because I have this on, I think it's Thanksgiving. We got about 3. You think you get done before Thanksgiving?
You know, I got to tell you, we've been having this conversation every week. I think the next benchmark is the election on Tuesday. But
Okay, so let's say the election comes out, and God willing, we get a couple of nice surprises for us Republicans. Will that move them?
I hope so. I certainly hope so. You know, the good thing is even Delta Airlines wrote a letter today saying to the Democrats saying reopen the government. More and more people are getting brave, and they're starting to see that the Democrats are the ones that are doing this. And so they're getting letters from big corporations that are afraid to get into politics, but they're starting to write letters and saying, you're messing up our business. You're messing up our country. Reopen the government. So the pain game that Schumer's trying to put on the American people, I think they're putting the pressure on the Democrats. And I think I'd be surprised if it lasts much more than a week.
Well, that's good news.
At the longest, I'd say Thanksgiving.
Yeah. I just don't see them wanting a Thanksgiving. People go home
Yeah.
on Thanksgiving, and people tend to talk about politics. Families talk about politics.
Right.
I think they talk about, I don't know why, maybe it's my family, but people talk about politics more on Thanksgiving than on Christmas.
That's right.
Do you find, I mean, Christmas has the gifts, the
Right.
children kind of take over, hopefully the religious aspect of it.
Yeah.
All that. And of course, they'll talk about politics, but Thanksgiving is a great day, particularly there's like football going on.
Right.
What else can you talk about? What do men talk about?
What was
Football and politics.
Right. But I'm curious for the congressman, what was it like if you're with extended family, you know, your first year as a member of Congress? Has that changed the dynamics of, do you have extended family over for Thanksgiving? And if so, what has it been like as a member of Congress now? You're in the action.
Well, this is going to be our first Thanksgiving coming up as a member of Congress, so we'll see how that goes.
Oh, that's right. It's a year.
But no, I tell you what, it's as a Navy SEAL veteran, it's an honor to serve our country. I see this as a way to continue service. I'm on the Armed Services Committee, so I'm on the front lines with Pete Hegseth.
Oh, that's good.
And and the Secretary of Defense, Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth, and all, to be part of those conversations. Nobody wants to go to war, but God forbid you do. You want our young men and women to win and come home.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of people don't know this, but the one big beautiful bill, the working family tax cut, President Trump codified 28 executive orders. Now I hear people all around my district saying, well, executive orders aren't permanent. President Trump is very smart. He codified 28 of them in the one big beautiful bill, the working family tax cut. But in the National Defense Authorization Act, President Trump codified 54 Trump executive orders.
Mhm.
No president's ever done that before.
So now it has the force of law.
That's right.
Ooh.
And it's going to take a whole lot to change these things. Trump is systematically.
So things about the changes that P and Pete wanted in the military and that you wanted in the military are now not just executive order, but they're law.
That's right. In fact, I was with Pete Hegseth at the Pentagon, and he actually thanked us for giving him the ability to make sure our troops are taken care of, because we worked so hard to make sure this National Defense Authorization Act was modernized our military, modernized our manufacturing. We're going to be building ships and submarines and bringing defense industries back into our country. What President Trump is doing is he's making America great again. I think he's making the world great again with all the peace treaties, 8 peace treaties in 8 months. But he wants you to double your business, and he wants you to be able to live, work, and raise your family in peace. And it's such an honor to serve with this administration.
Yeah, we see progress. We don't see like the end of it yet, but we see a much stronger beginning than we ever thought was possible.
It's amazing. He's moving fast. In fact, 28, you know, understand 28 executive orders are now law. Most presidents are lucky to get 28 laws in 8 years. He did them in the one big beautiful bill, and now you got 54 more.
Biden, there is quite possible that Biden had no laws. The auto pen had 14, but they had no laws in all that time. We only know he signed one thing, right? Come on, what did he sign? We know he signed one thing.
Hunter's pardon.
Hunter's pardon was signed by him.
He did. That's known.
I'm even told
took his hand and.
That's right.
No, I'm even told they blotted it. They had an old-fashioned blotter. They went boop, 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 to make sure. They had a picture of it. So Hunter is pardoned not only for what he did wrong, but for the things that we don't know about that he did wrong.
Right.
So I know if we find out that like some people, well, I'm not even going to say this one, because it'll get me in trouble. But let's say he gave somebody an overdose, and not that he killed them, but they had like days and days and months and years, permanent brain damage. So that's a crime. And they're also, could you sue him for that? Now, could you prosecute him for that? Yes, you could. You know why? Because it's a violation of state law. So I hope our district attorneys are not asleep at the switch. Please look at it. A lot of things can be prosecuted both ways. We often think of it as the federal. How does the federal get it? But what that assumes is the state has very wide jurisdiction, and the federal has to get it. So murder is a joint, where there's a federal crime of murder, it's a joint prosecution. So the state can do it, or assault. If there's a crime of assault, theft, all the drug buying, all state crimes.
Well, speaking of states, although Virginia is a commonwealth, not a state, there's the big election you just mentioned with Lieutenant Governor Winsome Sears taking on Representative Spanberger, the Democrat. And Eric Trump, I think this is from either today or yesterday, was on an interview. Those of you watching us right now, you'll see that sign in the background. Look at the sign we had. This is the
tell them what
here.
Tell them what area. Oh, that's a great shot. I'm saying that again.
Oh yeah, there's Eric Trump.
Eric Trump, what's that sign there? And then look. Oh, we got it right here.
How'd you get it in there?
That's funny. I tell you,
I put it behind it.
No, how did you get it in the Air Force One? I know how we got it here.
So this is John Fredericks Radio. He ran the Trump campaign in Virginia during his first win, and him and President Trump get along very well. And he's doing a bus tour around Virginia right now with the Trump bus, trying to help Winsome Sears win on Tuesday. And he put that sign up when Eric Trump. By the grace of God, I'm the first Republican Trump endorsed for re-election next year, and so I get to reuse those signs that I used to defeat Bob Good in the primary last year. So that's conservative, right? We reuse stuff.
It looks nice and new.
Yeah. So we got a bunch of them, but it's a huge honor to have that endorsement. And I just think he's the greatest president ever. And
I think a lot of people agree with that.
Yeah,
a lot of people agree with that. Has them very jealous, but.
Well, even the Democrats are saying he says what he means and means what he says, and he gets things done.
Right. Well, tell us, the congressman's been with us since before he was a member.
Mm-hmm.
So those of you that have been longtime viewers have seen him many times before on the show. Maybe give us a little bit about your first year in office. What it's been like, some observations, maybe something that, give us kind of something, inside scoop. Give us something that, we wouldn't see if we just watched TV and the news all day.
Well, some insider scoop is that 8 or 9 different times we had very difficult legislation that the pundits, all the media said, you will never get this done with a slim majority. But we have something that the Democrats don't have: a strong leader. We got President Trump, and we got those things done, like the one big beautiful bill. Nobody thought we could get it done. It was a lot of late nights. I stayed up all night. And so to debate the one big beautiful bill with the Democrats, you had to be a chairman. But because I was there, never left my post.
That's right.
I'm the only one that's not a chairman that got to debate the Democrats on the one big beautiful bill. And you probably saw when Speaker Mike Johnson gave his speech that night, I was right over his shoulder. I didn't know I was on TV, and all of a sudden my phone is blowing up But but as a military guy, I stood my post all night, and it's a part of history. You know, it codified 28 executive orders. I wasn't leaving. I wanted to be part of that history. But no, I've met some amazing patriots that love our country, that are doing it for the right reason. I'll tell you a couple of things that your audience might not know. The freshman class went to Israel in August, and I saw videos made by Hamas terrorists when they came up through the tunnels on October 7th and butchered Israeli people. They videotaped themselves cutting off body parts, playing soccer with them, and laughing at unspeakable evil. And when I got back to the country, the U.S., I told the news media, I said, you guys should be ashamed of yourself, because we have professors, we have students running around saying free Palestine, and they don't even know where Palestine is or what it is. But that trip was very surprising. But also, as a member of the Armed Services Committee, you pretty much got to be around for 10 years to be a team leader in Europe. So I show up to the Capitol one morning, and the team leader had 5 different planes canceled. So Speaker Mike Johnson said, not only are you going to Europe, you're going to be the team leader. So I'm briefing NATO commanders and prime ministers and visiting defense manufacturing companies in England and France. And then I go to Normandy, and they said it's customary for a team leader to give a speech to this huge crowd. People from all over the United States, all over the world were there. And so I gave a speech, and then they said, now it's customary for this team leader to lay a wreath at the U.S. Memorial for World War II, which is a huge honor. And even though I'm as conservative as you get, I know that all Americans, that American flag, that freedom represents all of us, regardless of race or party. And so I had 2 Democrats on the trip. I was a team leader for them, and they've been around longer than me. But I said, I want those 2 to put the wreath down with me. And they said, well, it's normally just the team leader. I said, yeah, but I want, because this flag represents all of us. So we laid the wreath down, and on the plane back, they said they couldn't believe I included them. But I think that was the right thing to do.
You're damn right it was, but very smart. Very smart.
Yeah.
I mean, and we have to try, even though it seems impossible, we have to try to create bridges. We have to try to create ways to work with them. And I just think if we keep trying, maybe we'll break through.
Right.
And maybe they'll get disgusted and get tired of this, because it's not going anywhere. I mean, I have a lot of stuff here, polls, their polls. I know their internal polling is disastrous. These things where you say that 70% of the American people don't think the Democrats are in touch with the American people, that's real.
I believe you. You know, 80% of Americans believe we need a secure border, but they want an open border. 80% of Americans believe that your little girl should go into a locker room without a boy undressing naked in front of your little girl, but they support the boys and girls locker rooms. I mean, it's nonsensical.
Yeah,
and so I'm glad to hear that.
The polling is very, very strong. They know it, which is the reason why I think they're going to. And also on the crackdown so far, they support the Republicans and Democrats more than they're not buying the Democratic explanation.
I saw the polling numbers today.
It's close, but it's still clear.
Yeah, I saw the polling numbers this morning, and the approval rating for the Republicans is actually going up every day.
Yep.
And it's going down every day for Democrats. And even Democrat news anchors on CNN are calling it a Democrat shutdown.
Yeah.
Yep, we saw that. And this is going back to that long session, Congressman McGuire. I sent this picture to you. Yeah, I saw you right there. I was watching. In fact, in the middle of the night, the mayor and I were in D.C.
Yes.
And visitor. I didn't realize this. We were able to go, so I ran over there overnight, if you remember, and the congressman was able to get us in.
Yeah, you know what's great is, well, the challenge is, if you see me in that video, I'm kind of fidgeting a little bit because when the Democrats were speaking, I saw a bunch of them falling asleep and yawning. And and like I said, I stayed up all night. I was on the phone with President Trump at 3 a.m. He was more awake than me. but when that video happened, I was like, I can't be the one on the Republican side that falls asleep. So I'm like looking around trying to stay awake. But I did. I stayed awake.
You did. You definitely did.
But it was a fight.
It was. You were there. Congressman Burchett was there. And that's right. Once you're on the phone with the president, then you got to stay, right? Anytime you could be like, where's Congressman McGuire? And you want to make sure you're there for the boss. And you certainly have been. And he was there for you.
You know, we have a candidate. We have a candidate in New York that I never believed would ever be a candidate, someone like this, for public office in America, without being, just a group of people getting together and throw him out of the town. It is impossible to state how many anti-American positions he has and how dangerous he is. He is without doubt an Islamic extremist.
Right.
Now they call him a communist. I think the worst part of it is his Islamic extremism and his support for the violent wing of the Muslim religion. He is a very strong supporter of the violent wing of the Muslim religion. Now, that religion has to change. The only way it's going to change is having strong supporters of the reform part of it. But by that, I mean the ones that read out Muhammad telling them to kill us. You know, when I have no doubt, and neither do the people who died on September 11 when it happens to you, you have no doubt. They were killed, and my friends were killed in the name of Allah.
Right.
Nobody else. It was a religious killing because they believe that they can take, they believe they're charged with taking over the world. And you say, well, they only have a little part of the world. They're dreamers. They're willing to do it forever.
Yeah.
They may think actually they have until forever, until the final judgment, and that's when they have to deliver it all to Allah. All the Jews gone, all the Christians gone, everybody converted. And now you turn it over to whatever your version of God is.
Yeah, those viewpoints are incompatible with Western civilization.
Yeah.
We've all seen what's happened in Europe. London is unrecognizable. I was told while I was over in Europe, and I don't know, I've heard from several sources, I hope it's not true, but I've heard 240,000 English women have been raped. And apparently, if you rape someone who's not a Muslim, it doesn't count as rape. And if
There's a whole group that's been there actually for over 15 years. And it's been covered up because they didn't want to have incidents. Now, I don't understand also why we go to tremendous lengths to cover up the criminality of the Muslims. I mean, it took the longest time. It took the longest time to get American press to acknowledge that the killers were Muslim. If an incident takes place, and there was the statement, Allah Akbar, we don't find out for 3 or 4 days.
Right.
Well, I'm pretty sure when somebody walks in and shoots someone and yells Allah Akbar, I know where it's coming from. I know you just told me the motive. They covered all of this up, and this guy Mandami just didn't start this stuff now. He's been doing this all the time. He's been an assemblyman. Ted, do we have this one? Let me read this one to you. Mayoral frontrunner Zohran Mandami fervently shouted about defunding Israel's settlers at a Big Apple rally just months before Hamas carried out its October 7, 2023 attack. Mandami was filmed repeatedly leading chants of "Not on our dime" at the anti-Israel demonstration in Midtown Manhattan back in 2023. That's what we're called for. We are calling for it because we know that the days of inconsistency, the days of drawing the lines in Palestine, those days are over. So this is a couple of days before they were violent. Looks like he was calling for violence. Well, awful coincidence that he's doing it right then. His father is a very, very big deal in the Islamic extremist movement. His father is a professor at Columbia that believes that suicide bombing is understandable. He thinks that September 11, we caused it. By the way, we treated them. He is a very, very strong supporter of, so you've got two types of the Muslim religion. You can only be one or the other. You're a Muslim who abhors violence and says to yourself, Muhammad may have been a good guy for the first half of his career, but he became a freaking murderer in the second half, and they're not going to follow him. I'm not going to have my kids grown up under the influence of a guy who murdered thousands and thousands of people and married a 9-year-old girl. So, how's my kid going to turn out? There are Muslims like that now. Tough. But there are a lot of Muslims on the other side. And we're afraid to talk about that.
Well, you just said that people are fearful, afraid. And that's what causes a lot of death, fear.
Yeah, I think if you don't face it, you don't wipe it out. You
Just
got to
get-
face it and know the enemy that you're facing. And you got to call them out. That's who they are, and that's what they're doing it for.
Or it just gets worse.
Hmm?
It just gets worse if you don't call it out.
You think you could find that one about the settlers?
Yep, I'm looking for that right now.
You want the little article that I had here?
So of course we have the big elections, Virginia.
So my friend Fernando Marteo came out against him today too. Fernando is the guy who ran against Curtis as the Republican candidate 4 years ago.
Okay.
We should get Fernando on.
Okay.
It was very hard for me to make a choice because I like the two men very, very much. Fernando is the head of the livery drivers in New York, which is very unusual because usually most of those are fervent Democrats. This guy's a real conservative Republican, Hispanic conservative Republican. And he's in charge of all the livery drivers. And they get treated so much better as the result of his having sensible ideas about
Right.
labor. It really is. I mean, I think we're going to eventually have the unions. And I think they're going to make concessions, to rules that make sense in a free market.
I think you're right. I think I already see some of them coming over.
Yeah. I mean, the Teamsters came over. A lot of the construction union. The construction union people in New York all voted for him. Of course, they love him
Right.
because they work with him.
Right.
Yeah, they
And he
work.
treats them with respect.
Yes.
Here's Mamdani.
Have you seen this guy? Have you seen him? This is quite a.
New York State subsidy of settler crime. Yeah! Are we ready to say not on our dime? When I grew up in this city, I grew up hearing a term of progressive accept Palestine. I grew up hearing that it was normal to hold an inconsistency only when it applied to Palestinians. I saw the politicians that I admired speak of universal rights and then draw the line right when it came to Palestinians. And I was told that that is simply how it is, it's how it has been, and it's how it will be. And when I decided to run for office, I was told to keep my thoughts on Palestine to myself if I wanted to win. I want to make it clear. I spoke every day to my constituents about the need for us to stand up in a consistent manner for justice for every single person, whether they are in Astoria or in Palestine. And then I got elected. And then I got reelected. And here I am saying what I have been saying.
You're funding the problem. You're funding the problem. You're elected. You're funding the problem.
Progressive accept Palestine.
Let's get some change here. Don't put your hands on me.
Can I hear you guys say not our dime with me?
Not on our dime.
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 So basically, we don't have to play any more of this. Well, we will, just so that there are people out there that haven't seen it. The guy running for mayor as a Democrat in New York City is a committed Islamic extremist. He supports people and he supports ideas and theories and organizations that are on the terrorist side of the Muslim religion, not on the peaceful side of the Muslim religion. And his father before him did. He's also completely unqualified to be mayor. He's never had a job. He comes from a very rich family. Far be it from me to question someone's religious views, except if it's as dramatic as this. He loves, as the most influential imam in the city, or if not in the country, Imam Wahab, who is a violent anti-gay individual who believes at a minimum they should be put in prison. He may very well still subscribe to the more ancient Muhammad punishment, which is to kill them. transgender? Are you kidding me? He's in favor of transgender, and he's a Muslim. He's in favor. He's in favor of being with transgender people, working with them, promoting them. His religion is in favor of punishing them to the point of, in some places, execution. So is he a Muslim? He's in favor of legalizing prostitution. You really think the Muslim religion doesn't ban prostitution? I mean, you want to get technical about it? The penalty is stoning to death. He's in favor of it. So what do we have? I don't know. We have someone who never should have been there, and it's only because of our dysfunction as a city that he is there. Some specifics: he wants to have free bus rides. The guy who is in charge of the MTA, who sets the cost with the governor, not the mayor, said, "No way, jerk." The Democrat Socialists of America, which is a communist organization he's been a member of forever. When he applied for citizenship only 8 years ago, he was asked, "Do you belong to any communist organization?" The answer was no. He lied. The penalty for lying is you're not a citizen. Members of Congress are working on that right now.
That's right.
I mean, that might be somewhat inconvenient, but let me say it in the words of Attorney General. What's her name?
Pam
Attorney
Bondi.
General Attorney General Jessica Tisch, right? No, that's the mayor. That's the police commissioner.
Oh, Letitia James.
Letitia James.
Oh yeah.
Letitia James. No one is above the law. Sorry.
Right.
Okay.
It's good.
Cuomo. I'm not going to go through the whole ballot. We will before the election. Cuomo is so far off the ballot. I think he's on the second page. Nobody can be able to find him.
Right.
Which is hilarious what the Democrats have done to him. He's just returned about $9,000 in illegal foreign contributions. There are plenty more coming in. Most important thing is to take a look at where the foreign contributions are coming from. Are they enemies of the United States? Now, his mommy has announced unequivocally he's not an American. Do we have that, Ed? Are we able to find that?
Well, was that on video? We'll look for it.
Well, I'm going to read it.
Yeah, read it, 'cause I don't know. Was that on video?
In 2013, yes.
Okay.
In an interview with I don't know. I saw her say this. So it is on video. Mira Nair, that's mommy. And Mira Nair is a producer of very, very famous and successful movies, mostly in India, and a millionaire many times over. And so was his father. So this is not a poor, this is all that stuff he's rich as hell. Mira Nair in 2013 told the Hindustan Times that her 21-year-old son's upbringing, because this was a question of whether he was Ugandan or Indian, he is a total DC, which means Indian. He's a total DC. Born, we are not Farangs at all.
He is not an American at all.
She continued using a word often informally used in the Hindu and Urdu language to refer to white foreigners. So we are not Farangs at all, meaning white. He is very much us. He is not an American at all. Why can't we take his mother's word for it? I've been people get annoyed at me that I say he's not American.
Right.
And I don't know. I'm just saying what mommy said. You have that one?
We're looking for it again. I haven't seen that on video. But we are looking
So then
for it.
before we go to anything else, let's go to New Jersey because we did Virginia, we did New York, and now we have New Jersey. And in New Jersey, we have the naval cadet who didn't graduate with her class, lied about it until 3 weeks ago, but didn't graduate with her class and didn't graduate for 287 days later. And when asked why, and no one knew about it, it was just like a leak of some kind. She said, I didn't want to rat out. There was a big scandal then. I think something like 60 or 70 didn't graduate with the class, and a few did with punishments. There was an exam that got out. Everybody had the exam. Some turned it in, great. Some didn't. Some discarded it, but some actually used it. So she didn't say that she wasn't among the cheaters. The answer she first gave was, I was not allowed to graduate with my class because I wouldn't rat out my fellow cadets. And those are people who weren't allowed to graduate with the class. So now they went and interviewed all of the cadets. The cadet says, that sounds stupid. The only people they didn't allow to graduate were the people who cheated. And then they did one or two things. They threw them out, about 80 of them, and they kept some on a sort of parole basis, on a test basis, which would account for not graduating with a class and then graduating 285 days later. Right? That she was in this she was at the academy in this parole status. So she says, I didn't rat my. She goes to the debate with Chiarelli. She gives that excuse again. And then somebody comes forward and says, well, that isn't, I mean, that can't possibly be true, because if she didn't testify, they'd have thrown her right out. There's an honor code. And I know that sounds very appealing to people from New Jersey that are all gangsters, but you call it not ratting on your colleagues. We call it allowing the United States Navy to have a seriously dangerous person with no integrity for the rest of his career, and therefore we throw you out. So she then changed it, and she said, "No. I answered all the questions they asked me." So now she didn't rat on a class. She did rat on a class if she told them everything she knew. And then she has this strange 253-day no graduation, which the other cadets say showed that she was being punished for being a cheat. And she won't release her records. Now, how can she keep Naval Academy records secret? Wouldn't they be government records?
I think they're assigned to her, so I think that they can be secret.
Should that be in the military?
I mean, if there's an investigation, you can go get them.
Yeah.
Criminal investigation, I'm sure.
Why wouldn't somebody's record in the academy be transparent if you're going to be an officer of the United States?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure for operational security, you can't let everybody have everybody's records.
Right.
So,
but what about things like discipline? And
it's something we can certainly look into as a member of Congress. Yeah. I'm on the oversight committee, so we're definitely looking into the auto pen thing. Chairman James Comer, yeah. We're investigating that right now. We're going to see if we can't make them null and void. I mean, that's what we do in oversight committee. I mean, we take these ideas up and we investigate. But what it shows you, talking about Mondami and talking about all these different things, the left believes that words are violence, and if words are violence, they can shoot you. And they believe that the means justify the end. The means justify the end. So yes. they'll lie, cheat, say whatever it takes to win. Mm-hmm. You know that his faith doesn't like gay people, but he wants all the support he can get. He's willing to lie to get elected. And that's what he's doing. He's saying whatever it takes to get elected. I think New York is making a big mistake right now. It's a three-way race, but apparently he's leading the polls right now. Is that right?
Yeah, he's leading in the polls.
And that's Tuesday, right?
Yeah.
Tell you, it's going to hurt the Democrats, I hope, big time in the midterms. But I love New York, and I think it's going to hurt New Yorkers.
It is, you know, your colleague, who is the minority leader, is frightened as hell that he's going to win. He just endorsed him at the very end.
because he's afraid.
very quietly. I endorse Mandami because he
He's
has been
right.
told
You're right.
he has been told that the Republicans are going to run against Mandami. That'll be the key to their campaign. You want to go in this direction? Vote Democrat. You want to be ruled by the teachings of Karl Marx? Let's do that.
Well, as a lawyer, I would like to get your opinion. Virginia has some major election interference going on right now. So we have the governor, Governor Glenn Youngkin, doing a great job. We have the House of Delegates that have Democrat majority. We have the state Senate that has Democrat majority. So the leader of the House of Delegates is a convicted felon. He did 7 years in prison for being a drug dealer. He was an officer in the Navy selling a list of people drugs, and he's now Speaker of the House. Go figure. Well, Winsome Sears, a U.S. Marine, her election's Tuesday, and she's gaining in the polls against Spanberger. So he calls a special session to do redistricting. If he has his way, 3 Republican congressional seats will be gone in Virginia, including mine. Now, the state constitution says that you have to make this ruling in between 2 elections, but we've only got a couple of days to go. We're in the middle of election, so all the Democrats they believed in a bipartisan redistricting commission. They put a ton of money into it. It passed in a referendum. The whole state of Virginia voted 65-70% for this thing a few years ago. All the Democrats were for it. Then a week before the election, Spanberger gets $300,000, and the next day we're in a special session. It pulls Winsome Sears off the campaign trail because she's got to be at the state capitol.
Mm-hmm.
So she can't be campaigning while Spanberger's all over the state. So she's got a bus tour going on. And I set up a big rally for her yesterday morning because she didn't have to be into session till 11 a.m. They found out about it the night before. They changed it from 11 a.m. to 10 a.m. and she couldn't make it. They're constantly blocking her from being on the trail. That's election interference. And they would say, well, they're doing redistricting in Texas, so that's why we did it. But they did it the last week of the election, which is the most important week. And if they were worried about what was going on in Texas, we've been having that debate all summer. Why did they wait to the last week of her election to tie her up the last week? These people are corrupt. They will lie, cheat, steal. They don't care about the American people. They just care about power and control. And that's why I'm hoping everybody will come out and vote Republican, vote for the right candidate in New York, New Jersey, and Virginia.
I'm feeling good in this order, and it's a shame. I'm feeling good about New Jersey first, Virginia second, and New York third. I like the issue in New Jersey because it's real clear. I mean, she's just a plain liar. Just a plain liar. I just don't see the people in New Jersey wanting her. And they came close to voting for Trump. They almost voted for this guy last time by 2 or 3%. He's a better candidate this time, Chiarelli. I think there's a good chance we'll pull that out.
Right, and we're seeing some polling. I talked to some of the campaign in New Jersey for Jack Chiarelli. They're very confident. The RNC is increasingly confident.
Okay.
But that's good, right? We want them to be confident, but I'm not sure that tells us. We know how hard. I mean, the mayor knows how hard New Jersey is for Republicans. You being Virginia congressman,
it's like to compare it to Virginia, it's interesting. You do have a Republican. I think you're a little easier. I think the New Jersey's like Pennsylvania was about 5-6 years ago, and 5-6 years from now it'll be Republican. It's almost there. It may now become Republican. But listen to this interesting poll. I never heard of a poll taken this way. So I don't know who took the poll. Quantus Insights. So a surprising 53% of likely Jersey voters believe their co-workers and voters are supporting Chiarelli. So they're not asked who you're going to vote for. Who are your neighbors voting for?
Yeah.
Chiarelli.
Interesting.
Compared to only 47% who say Cheryl. Isn't that weird? Isn't that weird?
I like how that's a good way to ask it, though.
Now, I don't know. I'd like to get the poll. I wonder
clever.
if they then asked the question, who are you for? And
Right, what's the rest of it?
Well, we created a website in Virginia. It's SpanbergerVotes.com with an S, because Spanberger's been going all over the state saying she's a moderate. But if you look at her congressional record, she is to the left of AOC and Omar on many issues. And so we just give the simple facts, easy for anyone to understand. It's SpanbergerVotes.com with an S, SpanbergerVotes.com. And Winsome Sears made a website. It's kind of funny. It's SpanbergerLies.com.
Yeah.
And she catches her contradicting herself like most Democrats. And they have no moral compass. So one day they're for this issue, the next day they're against the issue. They flip-flop all over the place.
So the actual poll, that actual poll, then, if you turn it around, right, and you say these are, so 53% say their neighbors are voting for Citarelli,
Yeah.
47% say their neighbors are voting for Cheryl.
Yeah.
Now we turn it around and we say, who are you voting for?
Right.
And it becomes 49-46 within the margin of error
Wow.
for Cheryl.
Right.
Their neighbors are voting for the other guy, but they're voting. I mean, it's amazing. What that indicates is, first of all, that the few undecideds that are left, you know where they're going to go if that's the state of the electorate, right?
Right.
If that's the state of the electorate, the few undecideds are going to break for Citarelli, and if there's 49%, many of them reported that their friends and relatives are all for Citarelli. Some of them will fold.
Yes. And enthusiasm in the closing days, right?
Yes.
Well, really throughout early voting. So even now, it would appear that the momentum is with us in both the Commonwealth.
Well, it says right here, this finding shows that Republicans, Democrats, and Independents alike recognize that momentum is surging for Jack Citarelli. And that's why he's on track to win. That they believe he's going to win.
What do you think is going to happen when the SNAP benefits run out on Saturday and people start getting, upset about that? Is that going to help the Republican?
Well, Congressman, I'm very curious from you, and I think our viewers would like to hear.
It depends on how well we have gotten the truth for them.
Right. And, the good thing I would say about the Republican conference is Speaker Mike Johnson has helped us stay on
You've done
message.
a good job with it.
We've just every day press conference stayed on message. The Democrats have voted to keep the government shut 14 times now.
So I don't usually give Thune as much credit as Johnson because I think Johnson has been more. But I like what Thune's doing here.
He did a good job yesterday.
Oh, yeah, let's see.
I think the 13 votes. God,
Yeah.
I just think you can't walk away from that. Look, 13 times you could vote for the same thing you voted for 13 other times, and because there's Trump there, no.
Right.
And you're the one screwing the American people, and they get everything they wanted except all this extra stuff, which isn't part of the law, isn't legal. You had actually promised to stop it. When do they run out, the Obama benefits? Do you know, at the end of the year? I think
2 months. Yeah, end of the year. It's about 2 months left, so that's about the end of the year. Yeah, and the thing is, they couldn't make them permanent when they had a majority. So now they're in the minority, and they're trying to make them permanent.
By the way, a lot of them that voted for it didn't want them to be permanent at that time.
Well, right. If people would have wanted it, it would have passed. But again, they're lying again because they said it was only for the pandemic. Well, the pandemic's over. And it's just proof that whatever the Democrats do is not true. The Affordable Care Act is not affordable. The Inflation Reduction Act doesn't reduce inflation. Like, they just say one thing and do another.
Right. Well, here's Senate Leader John Thune today on the Senate floor.
13 times people over here voted to fund SNAP. Let me just point out, if I might, that we are 29 days into a Democrat shutdown. And the senator from New Mexico was absolutely right. SNAP recipients shouldn't go without food. People should be getting paid in this country. And we've tried to do that 13 times. And you voted no 13 times.
Wow. I've never seen them like
You're
that.
right, 13.
This isn't a political
I've never
game.
seen them that.
These are real people's lives that we're talking about. And you all have just figured out 29 days in that, there might be some consequences. There are people who run out of money. Yeah, we're 29 days in. And they've done their best to make sure that a lot of these programs are funded. But at some point, the government runs out of money. 13 times. People over here voted to fund SNAP. 13 times they voted to fund WIC.
20 seconds.
My aching back. Finally realized this thing has consequences. Well, you know what? What Democrats are doing here, they're making plans to keep the shutdown going.
I've never seen John Thune that emotional or that committed and that angry. I must come from, I blame the whole thing on Schumer. Schumer also is the one who got Thune angry. You can only be lied out by a scumbag a certain number of times without getting angry. He's also a lot bigger than Schumer, so let's hope he doesn't punch him when we have to get him out of jail.
Yeah, I think Schumer's afraid of the radical left squad, AOC.
He's
she might
much
be
more
primary.
afraid of AOC running against. He'll take a punch, but he doesn't want to get run against by AOC. By the way, she's going to beat him no matter what. He could not vote for this, vote for it, vote something else. Not only that, Raphael the dog would beat him. He will get he'll be the first guy in the history of any state to get minus votes.
Right.
Jewish people from other places will come in and vote against him and register and then vote 0 on him. So he'll have a minus vote. I can't imagine anybody who is really Jewish, not like the transgender rabbi who supports Mondami. We have a transgender rabbi and 3 female rabbis who look like cheerleaders at a football game.
Right.
That support. These are the rabbis who support. And I met a lot of rabbis. I never saw rabbis that look like this. And one of them is a guy who became a girl, which I can't believe is legitimate in the Jewish religion. As sure as heck isn't in the Muslim or Christian religion. But in any event, a great Jewish man passed away yesterday. And I would like to spend a moment, and maybe you can find Rabbi Cass, Alvin Cass. Rabbi Alvin Cass, I know personally, because all during the time I was the mayor of New York, he was one of the chaplains of the New York City Police Department. He had been appointed before I was the mayor. The mayor and the police commissioner, of course, get to review all the chaplains and appoint or reappoint, and largely until probably it's changed now. Koch did not treat this like a political thing. He put in legitimate rabbis. Koch had a very high regard, not only for his own religion, he was a very religious Jew. Koch today, I would tell you, would be, the hair that he didn't have would be coming out of his head. If you think there are people that are emotional on the subject of Mondami, I've met very, very few people in politics that loved Israel more than Ed Koch. Very few. In fact, he didn't endorse Jimmy Carter and endorsed Ronald Reagan over there. And he was a Democratic mayor of the city. You also have to understand that he came from the liberal part of the Democratic Party. He came from the Greenwich Village part of the Democratic Party. And like any other intelligent person, he eventually turned on them. He endorsed me for mayor twice, and he endorsed Pataki for governor twice. Not because he was turning on his party, because his party has turned on him and on the country that he loved, Israel. So Rabbi Cass was with me at virtually every major event for September 11. The man died at 89. So back then he was in his 70s. But he would come into the pit and he'd help dig with the men. And he would when we have a funeral of what we call an inspector's funeral, which would be like for a general in the military, all of the chaplains come, whether they're Catholic or Protestant or Jewish, and he would come all the time. And he was always extremely comforting. And he spent his life comforting police officers. And if you think that was an easy job, just think of how many. Just during the time I was mayor, 48 died. And then another 27. So you're talking about he was actually a rabbi. He had his own congregation. He was a distinguished rabbi. He was one of the leaders, but he gave all of this time since 60 years to the New York Police Department, and did many, many wonderful things, not just during September 11, but I mean, that's when I saw him the most. Hospital beds. He comforted Jews, of course, but he comforted Christians. He comforted people he comforted people. Man had a great facility for it. He died on Wednesday and going to have a dignified transfer of the chief chaplain. Well, they already did that. Now they're going to have the funeral services on Friday at the East Midwood Jewish Center in Brooklyn. And he'll be interred at the Cedar Park and Bethel Cemetery in Paramus, New Jersey. Maybe he came from New Jersey.
Sounds like an amazing
He was.
patriot.
He was also an Air Force veteran.
Amazing patriot.
And, you know, when he was in the Air Force, because my doctor, the doctor who delivered my children was a Jewish doctor who was in the Air Force. He said it wasn't easy in the Army Air Force to be Jewish. He said it's different now, but it was very, very difficult then. And Alvin was in an Irish, Italian, Polish, Black, Hispanic, not heavily Jewish police department, and he ministered to the Jews who were there, because there are Jews in the police department. But he also ministered to everybody, and I really liked him a lot, and that's why I wanted to spend a little time on him. And I'm sure you're gonna find him up there with Father Judge, who was the chaplain to the fire department, who died on September 11. So let's see what else we have before we send our people off. There's no baseball game tonight, so we won't lose our audience.
Yeah.
I don't know why anybody roots for any one of those two teams. First of all, the Canada part is getting me. I don't want to lose to Canada. On the other hand, I don't want Los Angeles to win. So you know the conclusion I came to. He came to a different one. I think Los Angeles hurts us more than Canada. Canada is a pain, right? We have trade problems. They let a little fentanyl in, not nearly as much as Mexico. I think Trump has gotten them to fess up on the fentanyl. And plus, they've done a lot of good things for us. They did a lot of good things for me on 9/11. I'm very indebted to Canada for the help they gave us. Los Angeles, on the other hand, is one of the most unbelievably destructive parts of America. That's where a lot of the crazy left-wing crap comes from. That's where it gets developed first. That's where all the Hollywood nut jobs who are trying to destroy our children with no morality and no decency. That's where they make these movies that encourage you to kill people or to engage in perverted sex. They're very much a part. Hollywood is exactly where Karl Marx wanted them to be. And it's Los Angeles. And then if you look in the stands, you see a bunch of them. I don't want them to be happy. So I came to the conclusion, and I am an American League fan, and they did beat the New York Yankees, which is a tribute to them, because you don't get to beat the New York Yankees that easily. So I am now rooting for them very strongly. And I started after they were down, when they lost that game, and I thought I stayed up, John. I couldn't go to sleep. I'm such a baseball nut. Now, I don't even like either one of these teams. Right? So I'm watching this game, and I'm thinking, stay up one more inning, it'll be over. Oh, one more inning, it'll be over. One more inning, it'll be over. On.
Yeah.
And finally, they hit the home run, and I said, and the Dodgers were ahead 2-1. I said, no way. All those people in Los Angeles cheering like that, they shouldn't be cheering. They should be going to confession.
Well, that's going back to Toronto tomorrow night.
Tomorrow night, okay. Tomorrow night, we're having our Halloween party. we are going to have what will it consist of? It will consist of a special guest. 2, we're not telling you who or what they are. We are telling you a few little hints, just to show you we're not going to be like jackasses. It'll be non-woke. It'll deal with a serious issue, and it'll help enlighten you on things you need to know, and we'll have fun. And you can wear costumes, and then we want you to afterwards to tell us, because some of these things are quite controversial, and we want you to see if you agree with us on the answers, because there's going to be an interview of the main character. You know, I mean, this main character has been dead for many, many years, but we're going to do the best we can, having surveyed a lot of his background, to give you the answers that he would give were he's sitting here today. So that's going to be our Halloween party. A little different, but in line with our show, right?
Right.
Sounds like fun.
Yeah, it should be fun. And I'd like to get the Grassley FBI files because my name is in it, but my name is in so many files, I don't have room for them anymore.
Right.
I don't actually think Jack Smith, he had my name, but I didn't know they had my AOL account for 2 years. They went a couple of weeks after I represented Donald Trump. All these crooks went and got an affidavit from obviously a crooked federal judge who signed it and said they could have my AOL account. I hadn't committed a crime.
That's crazy.
They didn't even think I committed a crime at the time. They wanted it to spy on Trump. Then the second time around, they said crimes that they were alleged I committed. And they came into the house in New York, and they came into my law office and took everything out. They claimed there was probable cause that I committed a crime. The press said, that's a smoking gun. FBI doesn't do things like that unless they have an airtight case. I went out, I said, you got to be joking. I was the U.S. attorney here forever. I put more people in prison than I think any U.S. attorney before or after me. And certainly some of the biggest cases ever. I'm going to go commit a crime. You're out of your mind. You're just out of your mind. You spent all these years watching me and you actually think I can commit a crime. You've got to be such a poor judge of character. You can't see what they're doing. And then why would they go after my law office if they were legitimate? You don't raid law offices. God, you'd have to be preventing a terrorist bombing to raid a law office. The minute you raid a law office, people say, I can't tell lawyers anything. I can't get advice. So they didn't believe it. They were all of them were sure they were going to get me. They were hoping I'd go away for 10 years or 15 years. They didn't know what crime I committed. This is an investigation in search of a crime.
Fishing expedition.
Okay. 2.5 years later, after they took almost all my records, lost some of my records, and my lawyer said, you got to stop this now. You're at the end. You're not even to subpoena anybody. If he comes in and talks to you, no Fifth Amendment, no nothing. Is there a chance he'll close the investigation if he satisfies you on these things? And we took a big risk. But I took a risk on the fact that my old office had a teeny bit of integrity left. And we answered their questions. And then they took 6 months. They could have done it right away. And he finally got them to write a letter to the grand jury saying, we've dropped the investigation of Mr. Giuliani because there's no probable cause that he committed a crime. So, John, if you think about it, to get those warrants, they needed probable cause. What happened to it? Now I can't get the warrants. I have Christina Bobb representing me. And even the new Justice Department can't find them. So I'd like to see this one too, because I don't think they did anything on this one. That's the one that they used to go after me. But if my name is here, I was informed at the time when these first things came out that my name was on this list.
Yeah.
but I get confused because I was informed about 4 times
Yeah,
that my name were on
Yeah.
lists. I do
We're
like
into that.
I do like to see it. I'm going to save this for another day when we have more time to cover it. But I do like to see that the New York Post editorial board comes to the straight out conclusion that Gotham's corrupt courts, New York's corrupt courts, they come to the conclusion that I come to, that the courts of New York are corrupt, and particularly in Manhattan, the Bronx, Queens, and Staten Island. And they also come to the same conclusion without the analysis that's necessary if we were going to do something really, really substantive about this. The judicial patronage problem still thriving in the Bronx and Queens. Now, judicial patronage means the politicians appoint the judges, not the mayor. The mayor appoints only the criminal court judges, lowest court. All they do is set bail arraignments. Civil court judges elected. Supreme Court justices elected. Appellate division put on by the governor. In a one-party state, what is that? All Democrats. So I always like to pick out the worst judge in the history of New York. I think will be Judge Engelmoron, who sat on the Trump case, where he said Mar-a-Lago was worth $18 million.
Yeah, you're right.
Trump said maybe that wall is worth 18 million.
There isn't a single person in Palm Beach who doesn't know who he is and laughs at him. Laughs. I'm thinking, how could you have a judge like that? I can't even remember his name now because I've called him Engelmoron for so long. That case is now, is that case being argued on appeal and they're not reversing it? They're jerking around with it. The crooks on the appellate division, they took off 2 judges to get a redistricting opinion changed. And we lost 2 congressmen as a result of that. But there were 2 judges that had voted against the redistricting plan. We finally got a fairly decent redistricting plan, and we got 6 congressmen elected. When they changed it, we lost 2 of them. And they had to get rid of 2 judges to do that, because the 2 judges wouldn't. These were 2 guys, Democrats, but they wouldn't violate their conscience. But the corrupt machine in New York is 170 years old and brutal. It's brutal. Right. And on judges, the judges are appointed. The trial judges, who have most of the power, are put on a ballot to run. So that sounds pretty good, except who puts them on the ballot? The political boss.
Right.
And since the party is a one-party place, they can put them in places where they just have to win, or nobody runs against them. So Engelmoron has run 3 times in 19 years. He never had an opponent. And that's the usual. So the party leader can create your career. Then they appoint a lot of these masters. Like if a judge has a complicated case, the judges aren't all that smart. So they have to get somebody to do it for them. So they hire somebody. A lot of them are retired political hacks, retired judges who have to make a living. So they hire the retired judges. They talk about here too. The retired judges now, you would think it'd be somewhat independent, but no. It's all under the same system. And if they make a decision against the party, they'll be gone and they have no income. So the retired judge in my case was an old lady who had been a judge, appointed in Brooklyn. Brooklyn is about, I don't know. They used to think Brooklyn was the most corrupt of the machines.
Out of the 5 boroughs?
Yeah. I don't know if there was really a difference.
Right.
I don't know if there was really a difference. I think
Staten Island.
Yeah, no, Staten Island was the only one that had a 2-party system.
Right. That's why.
So the woman who's appointed as the master in my case is a former judge that was appointed probably by one of the county leaders who was under investigation for his whole life. And she's sitting in my case and she's looking at her cell phone all the time. And then I show her a tape that was doctored. And she said, oh, well, sometimes that happens. It was clear that either the Attorney General, the Secretary of State in Virginia, or my prosecutor, who was a creep, had doctored it. Doctored tapes drive judges crazy. I mean, cases get destroyed on doctored tapes. He helped me find the doctored tape.
Right.
And not only that, the doctored tape covered the period of time when it was alleged that the most ballots were it was in the Virginia case.
Mhm.
And it was the tape from the arena. And what they did was they retimed it and took out somewhere around 30 to 40 minutes. How did we find it? Stupidly, when they took it out, they left at the very, very top. You can see the camera. You could see the watch from the arena. So now all of a sudden you're going along and they square with each other, right? Now, first time I went through it, I'm listening to it, and some of the things are jumping on me. Now, this shouldn't have been edited, right? I said, well, maybe something wrong. Then all of a sudden, things are changing very fast. Like these people, where did they come from? So finally I said, holy shit. I said to Ted, I think they, So Ted looked at it, I looked at it, and Ted saw the thing upstairs. So he said, well, let's keep track of that.
Yep.
We'll both look at it and keep track of it, and then let's see when it starts to vary. And it did. Boom, 10 minutes. Boom, 5 minutes.
Right.
All during the time that illegally everyone had been thrown out of the arena. So they couldn't observe anything going on. They claimed they had stopped counting votes. And as soon as everybody was out of the arena, they go under a blanket and pull out the ballots and start counting. At that time, you see a little the beginning of it, and poof, tape goes off. Boop, 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 boom.
Corrupt.
That's right, Mayor. And I don't know, maybe we save the story for another time, Congressman, but
The case should have been thrown out. The prosecutor and the Secretary of State of Georgia should have been called for a contempt hearing. And one of the two of them screwed up the tape.
Right. We certainly, that's something.
And they should have been the ones that were disbarred, not me.
Do we have a?
They also prevented Christina Bobb from finishing her testimony.
Right.
That's the testimony where Christina made a mistake and said that I was on the conversation between Rassenberger and the president, which the president was indicted for. I was not on the conversation. How do I remember it that well? First of all, what don't I remember?
Right.
Second, I spent days talking to the president, reconstructing that conversation. If I were part of the conversation, I would have remembered it. I had to write it out. I was representing him. And I am a relentless lawyer. Now, the only thing I couldn't remember, so I do have not a perfect memory, I couldn't remember exactly why I wasn't part of that conversation. And here's why I wasn't. I was on OAN Live talking about the election fraud for 45-minute documentary. So you got the Times, you got me eight blocks away for 45 minutes on TV before the conversation ends. And then you have everybody else but Christina not remembering that I was there, including Mark, who says I absolutely wasn't there. They throw her out as a witness. Well, we don't need that testimony.
Right.
And they never let me show the contradiction that they based it on. I mean, they just frame you and it's okay. Well, hopefully we're changing that. And someday, and we should start this, there should be a NAP commission, that NAP commission investigated the entire police department to investigate the entire judiciary, and it should be turned upside down. If you want to have fair courts in New York, Democratic leaders should not be allowed to be within 5,000 miles of a court. Because if they're anywhere within 5,000 miles of a court, some of them, not all, but a large number of them are going to be trying to make money incorrectly and illegally. And there is a very, very, very good article by Don Domenech saying that the Democratic Party now where we say this is crazy, this has got to change, we don't realize it's become mainstream. The stuff that they say, the things that they do, and they even say that. AOC made a speech the other day. She says, I'm not crazy, I'm sane. And Mandami has said similar things. This is the mainstream position of the party now. We are our party, which used to be a Democratic Party, we're consistent supporters of the state of Israel. They now want it destroyed. That's the position of the they want it from river to sea.
That's right. Historically, many villains think they're the good guys.
Their views on gender are mainstream. They have a justice on the Supreme Court that was afraid to define what a woman is. In most cases, they're in favor of biological men being on teams of women or in their bathrooms.
They want to castrate children.
Yes, on climate, which now even Gates has admitted is a fraud. On climate change, he just put out a big,
I saw it. Yeah.
that ridiculous clown.
We knew that all along.
Yeah. And on the border, who of them has said, well, thank you, the president for closing the border. They're in favor of open borders. So we used to think these were the extreme Democrat positions. Well, how extreme are they? And where are the people? In our party, we have a little fight, right? We know who the people are. Who's fighting this? This is the party we're facing.
Right.
And a lot of people from the outside are saying, oh, the mainstream Democrats should come forward and run. Well, if they thought they could win, they would.
Right.
They're afraid of the radical left.
Yeah.
They'll destroy them.
Well,
Right.
Ted,
Mayor.
any more questions?
Well, I mean, we gotta.
We don't have a baseball game tonight.
No, we got the congressman here. I mean, we could ask some questions all night. There's so much going on. We're so thankful that he's here with us.
You ask him a
Stay with us
few
for the whole
questions.
show.
You ask him a question or two, because I'm looking for a song I want to play.
You want to play a song on the way out?
I'm going to play a song on the way out.
Great. Well, Congressman, of course, your first term, you've given us some insight on what it's like being a member of Congress. I mean, I feel like you're always running for re-election in some ways, right? And
But the first time,
when you're in
but the
Congress.
first time is always the hardest.
Right.
So do you want to give us, I know you're so focused on the work. I'm sure you're the type of guy who's focused on the work and helping people. But of course, that's always got to be in the back of your mind. How are you feeling?
Well, it's an honor to serve. And the biggest thing is we've got to win the midterms. So obviously we want Virginia to get the Republican governor elected on Tuesday. But really, if we don't win the midterms, the Democrats are going to spend every day impeaching President Trump. Greatest president ever. He's got a lot of, he's working faster than any president, getting a lot done to turn our country around. But we've got to win the midterms. So we need your prayers, we need your vote, we need your dollars. And yeah, every 2 years, you're always running.
And tell our audience about what it's like working with Speaker Mike Johnson. You know, when he came on the scene, relatively unknown, right, to the country at large. I think a lot of folks are impressed with him. Give us something about the speaker. He's such a hard worker, right, and kind of a no-nonsense guy. What's he like? What's he like when you're meeting with him or chatting with him on Capitol Hill?
Well, he's very smart. He has a good sense of humor. He's funny. But I think my favorite thing about him is his strength and his faith in Jesus Christ. He always talks about divine providence, and he believes that God saved President Trump in that bullet so that we can save America. And so he's very professional, and it's an honor to serve with him.
He really has. I was neutral on him when he was appointed. I didn't know about him.
Mm-hmm.
And he's a quiet guy. He's not the usual politician.
He's measured.
But I have come to really admire him. I think he's a guy with quiet strength and principle. And then when he has to make a compromise, he tries to do it in the most principled way possible.
Very principled man. And, I think God has put all of us in these positions where we need to be to save this country. And like I said, the head of that would be President Trump. But to have Leader Thune and Speaker Mike Johnson and to be part of this Republican conference, sometimes it's like trying to line up cats, everybody wants to go a different direction.
Mhm.
But by the leadership that we have, the strength of leadership, we're rowing in the same direction and we're moving our country in the right direction. Not the left direction, but the right direction.
Well, we're going to be hearing from this congressman quite a bit, because he's really is on top of everything, which I have to tell you, having had decades of experience in Washington, is extraordinary for a freshman congressman. It isn't that freshman congressmen aren't very good. In fact, sometimes they're better because they have more enthusiasm. They haven't lost it, but they're not as knowledgeable. He just picks up everything. And he's somebody people trust. The Speaker, the President.
Right.
President wouldn't have endorsed him first. See, and he doesn't really, the good thing about him, he's very humble. He doesn't want people to know the President endorsed him. Show us the picture behind him.
We got it right there.
Yeah. Of course, if he didn't want people to know that the President endorsed him, I'd say he'd be too stupid to be in politics.
Well, yeah, that's a pretty big endorsement. I tell you,
The first member of Congress to get the endorsement.
Yeah.
I think that's key.
Well, I think that's good.
yeah,
That's
it's
great.
a huge honor. And just like I said, I totally trust and believe in President Trump, and he hasn't let us down.
He trusts and believes in you.
What's your website, Congressman? For our audience, you're a friend of the show. It's never a bad time to check out the website, support our people. What is your website?
Well, so it's McGuireVA.com.
McGuireVA.com.
It's MCGUIREVA.com.
That's it.
So hopefully we'll be able to reach you, John, next Tuesday night at some point.
Absolutely.
We got two specials coming up. Our Halloween special party tomorrow. And then on Tuesday, we'll have a special on the three major elections. And we'll have people in each place.
Right.
And we'll keep you up to date on what happens, because it will have an impact. It will have an impact to some extent on the president's program.
Right.
Look at the terrific victory we got in Argentina when Milei was supposed to lose big time. His party was supposed to lose. It was like a midterm election for him. It comes up. They give him how much? 200 million, 300 million to bail him out alone, to bail him out. And all of a sudden, he wins the biggest victory his party has ever had.
Right.
For fiscal sanity and non-communism, which is what he's running against. And I'm worried about him, because I think they're going to try to do the same thing to him they did to Bolsonaro, who they tried to kill, and then they couldn't kill him, and they put him in jail.
Yeah.
And they did the opposite of what they did with Trump. They first tried to put Trump in jail, and then they tried to kill him. In the case of Bolsonaro, they tried to kill him first. And when they couldn't do that, they tried to put him in jail.
It's spiritual warfare. It's good versus evil. And we got to stay vigilant and keep an eye on each other.
So let's see if it plays.
Well,
I don't know.
You got to unplug it there.
Oh.
If you tell me the song, we can put it up over.
I'm going to surprise you.
All right, so we're playing some music here. DJ Mayor Giuliani.
The president likes to do this. He'd get annoyed at me if I did it. He'd want to come here and do it.
Are you playing it? Oh, am I not?
This is called "Give Us This Day" by the Archers, and they are. This is an old record of theirs. That was an Emmy Award-winning record that they're redoing in this beautiful gold album, and it's a beautiful song. They're all religious. Give us this day our daily bread. Can you hear it?
Yeah.
We hunger for righteousness.
Put it off.
Do like you promised and fill us up till we're satisfied. 5,000 came to hear
It's the gold thing. Next time we play this,
There you go.
next time we play this, you'll have the lyric.
just 2 fishes and 5
I came up with this at the last minute.
There was much more.
Thank you, John.
Thanks for having me on.
With this song, obviously based on the Lord's Prayer, let's pray for the people of Israel and the people of Ukraine and people of Iran and the people of Russia, so that they and the people of Israel is chosen people and for our president. What a job. Thank you. Take care of them. And as Congressman said, thank you for sparing. That's why we're playing. This is why we're playing Give Us Our Daily Bread. And I'll tell you all about the Archers tomorrow. Great story. And they're good, right?
Yeah.
All right.
All right. Well, we'll see you tomorrow night, where we will be distracted by Halloween, big Halloween party. And let me just take one thing out: we're not dressing up as Dodgers or Canadian people who boo the national anthem. So we're dressing up in non-woke costumes.
I like that.
With that, God bless America.
All right, I think I gotta go meet my wife.
Do you have dinner yet?
It's our purpose to bring to bear the principle of common sense and rational discussion to the issues of our day. America was created at a time of great turmoil, tremendous disagreements, anger, hatred. There was a book written in 1776 that guided much of the discipline of thinking that brought to us the discovery of our freedoms, of our God-given freedoms. It was Thomas Paine's Common Sense, written in 1776, one of the first American bestsellers, in which Thomas Paine explained, by rational principles, the reason why these small colonies felt the necessity to separate from the Kingdom of Great Britain and the King of England. He explained their inherent desire for liberty, for freedom, freedom of religion, freedom of speech, the ability to select the people who govern them. And he explained it in ways that were understandable to all the people, not just the elite. Because the desire for freedom is universal. The desire for freedom adheres in the human mind, and it is part of the human soul. This is exactly the time we should consult our history. Look at what we've done in the past and see if we can't use it to help us now. We understand that our founders created the greatest country in the history of the world, the greatest democracy, the freest country, a country that has taken more people out of poverty than any country ever. All of us are so fortunate to be Americans. But a great deal of the reason for America's constant ability to self-improve is because we're able to reason, we're able to talk, we're able to analyze. We are able to apply our God-given common sense. So let's do it.